Alex, Chief Strategic Officer at ECLUBTRADING.com. Welcome to today's video. Hope you had a decent day. I try to help as much as possible. This is why I'm here. We are in it together. Today was one of those days where you either lost lots of money or you were well positioned. You had a cool head and you could have prevailed and actually made some decent money. All in all, we did very well. I kept advocating throughout this week that the market looks very weak. Not because we are making highs all the time, but because market participation was very narrow. So this means that not all the sectors were participating in the market. And as I said before, we were putting on hedges after hedges and hedges, which hurt at the time. We were not making as much money as we were supposed to make with the SPYs and the Qs at all-time highs, but we were protecting our gains and we prepared for days such as today. I told you in the morning in the game plan that you have to be cynical about today, that you have to look for a reactionary low. A reactionary low means the low that the market makes after 10, 15, 30, 45 minutes. You can buy things and you can try things after that low, and like this you can try out and see if you can actually make money and get out some of the positions that you were long before, which are not acting great, or try out new positions which might be in play for that respective day. Now I want to start with the SPYs because these are the backbone of the market. What happened today? Okay, so we opened at 428.78. Yes, what did you know before? You knew that 428.56, you had it on all your charts. 428.56 was a very important support level from which we broke out this week. Soon after the opening, we went down and we made the low of 427.52. So this was your reference point. I'm going to go also over the daily chart. This was your reference point as the active support for the day. So you could have been buying things against this low, or you could have waited to see if we have any bounce and try to buy things once we were past this 428.56. If you bought versus 427.52, or if you waited till 428.56, I hope you had a great day. I hope you engaged some of the names that we talked about. And as you can see, we had a nice candle in the SPYs all the way up to 431.73. We closed just above the 8-day. I talked on Twitter about this. I said in the afternoon that if the market is any good, we have to close in the Qs, which is the tech sector, above 367, and in the SPYs about 430. What did we do? We did exactly that. The market did not fall apart, even though a lot of the stocks look really ugly throughout the day. We managed to regroup. We managed to close off the lows, and we managed to make some decent money in lots of the names. So I hope you followed us. I hope you read the morning game plan, which was, I hope, of great help to you. What did we say today? We're going to focus on the strongest name from yesterday. We knew it was going to be an ugly open. We could see it from early in the morning from what happened overseas. Asia was down big, especially the tech stocks. Europe was down big, and it was down throughout the day, and it closed quite ugly. So we expected a very nasty opening for the overall US market. What did we do? We waited for the 10-15 minute reactionary low, and we started to trade from that level. Now I want to show you also how we approach the day from the daily chart. This is the first part, was the macro chart, where you can see the action for multiple days, and this is your daily chart. So what could you have done here, and how could you have approached this chart? Just give me a second to manage to move this a bit. Sorry. Okay. So you knew in the morning this was your reactionary low, 427.52. It made a double bottom at 427.52. So you could have been a buyer against this 427.52 once you knew this was a double bottom with a tight stop at 427.52. You could have bought the SPY straight if you wanted, and you could have added once we took out the morning high, which was at 429.44. So this gave you an extra $1.50 in the SPYs, which is quite significant. So if you look at the daily chart, look for the low, see if it makes new lows. It didn't make a new low, so this was the low to trade against. When did we get this low? This low was confirmed at at 4:45. So 15 minutes after the market opened, you already had your low in. We tested this low once again here, an hour later, and this was the low for the day. So you had a nice run in the spice. As you can see, these are the moving averages for the daily chart. We were above the moving averages. We took out the 200 day moving averages, and you see we didn't make a new low. Okay, we didn't close very, very strong, but you could have made a lot of money in a lot of the stocks that worked well today. So this is why it's important to have a game plan. It's important to know your levels. It's important to look at the daily and see where the action is, where the money is rotating to. So now let's look at the tech sector. Tech started on the wrong foot. We started below the 8-day. We were in no man's land. We were between the 8-day and the 21-day. What did I say? We said that this 355.23 was an important level. It was the pivot, resistance and support for some time in here. We dipped below it, but soon we reclaimed it. So you could have been long the Qs and long some of the tech names that acted well in the past few days and few weeks. And we had a very nice run up to 359.65. So this is your pivot resistance for tomorrow with pivot support at 354.42. All in all, tech is still acting much better than the overall market. As you can see, we closed well above the 8-day, so there is still some momentum in the tech names, and you can still be long some of them, but please bear in mind that this is not the time to add new positions. This is the time to day trade more. This is the time to look for opportunities, to look for oversold bounces, to find those stocks that actually can make you money holding them for a few hours, for a few days, not to be a long investor. We don't know where the market is heading. There are different news out there. COVID is re-emerging in parts of Europe with the Delta variant. We have the yields and the whole story with the yields and the interest rates, which is affecting the stock market. There was a lot of frothiness and low participation from most of the sectors, so you have to be very careful. But all in all, tech is really looking good. It's still constructive. It did not break down today. It dipped below the 8-day. It soon reclaimed it, and it closed quite well above 357, as we said. It actually closed at, let me just check it for you, 358.77. So I said a few hours before the market closed, if we manage to close above 357 in the Qs and above 430 in the SPICE, the market is still okay. Now let's look at the small caps. Actually, we traded them today. The small caps had 3 big down sessions. Today they tried a reversal. What does a reversal know? I hope you all know by this time. It means that it's going below the previous low, and then it reclaims it. So the IWMs went as low as 217.85, then quickly reclaimed 221.18, and it gave you a nice push to 224.08. I hope you took the trade. I hope you made some money, and once you saw that it's not acting great, you got out of the way. In such situations, you don't have to stay long. You don't have to be long just for the sake of it. You have to take your trade and move away from this. All in all, this is still below the moving averages. There is still no momentum in this name. It's somewhere in no man's land, so there is no point for you in being long the IWMs overnight. Now let's look at the big tech stocks. Let's start with Apple. Apple had an inside day. It wasn't as bad as we thought it's gonna be, so we managed to salvage our positions. You knew we were long Apple from last night as it closed very well, and we were looking for it to make a new all-time high. Of course, with the market down today, Apple was one of the stocks hit hardest. But then again here, 140.67 was the low. If you bought versus that low, which was put in the first half an hour, you had a nice $4 run in Apple as well. For tomorrow, holding above this 140.67 is important. You have the 8-day now. It moved up to 140, so it's not extended anymore. It can rebuild, and we can have a nice run in Apple again. I think we had some issues with the internet. Sorry for that if you didn't see some of the charts. I will go back to the IWMs. I think here it was the problem. So the IWMs tried a reversal today, 3 down days for the IWMs. It dipped as low as 217.85, reclaimed to 21.80, went as high as 224.08. This should have been your trade. You should have been out. You don't need to be in names that are below the 8, 21, and 50 day. There is no momentum in this sector at the moment. It was just a day trade for us. I hope you took it as well. Like I said, Apple still looking good above the 8 day. It gave you a nice trade today if you are still long Apple, or if you wanted to engage it today, it was closer to the 8 day, you could have bought it versus this 140.67. Gave you a nice $4 move up to 144.06. Apple is looking very well and constructive, and if I were to choose one or two names in tech to take overnight, Apple would be one of them. Now let's look at the big winner for us today in tech. This was Amazon. Why is Amazon such a big winner for us? First of all, what did we say? Yesterday we said that if Amazon is any good, after this red candle here, after this new all-time high, if it's any good and if the market dips, it should hold more than half of this candle. Well, half of this candles was around 316.10, 316.20. It made a low of 36.21, so it could have been a buyer versus that level, and look at this nice candle. It managed to take out the previous high and it went as high as 37.60. We engaged Amazon quickly. You could have been a buyer versus this low, as you saw from the beginning that there is some relative strength in the name. You knew from before that Amazon was very strong. It broke out from a multi-year channel, so this was one of the stocks that if you wanted to trade today, this was one of the stocks that you had to engage for a cash flow trade. So we engaged Amazon very well. We still had a call spread with it, and we went long the stock throughout the day. It gave us a very, very nice profit. We added throughout the day, we trimmed some, and we are still long some overnight. You could have been a buyer once it went above this level, 36.85. This was the prior high from 2 days ago. You could have added it again above 37.34, and look at this nice candle, new all-time high, with the markets down, with the Dow Jones in disarray, with the S&P down, with the Qs down. Amazon gave you an impressive candle today. And as I said, with Apple, if I were to take a tech stock home, Amazon is definitely one of them, and it's looking much higher. Imagine if Amazon on such a weak day for the overall market manages to make an all-time high. What would have happened if we had a 2% day up in the SPICE or in the Qs? Where would Amazon be? So think about this before making new trades. Don't look for broken names. Don't look for small bounces in broken names. They can work as well. I'm going to show you some that we did. Think about the big names. Think about the names that have strong fundamentals, and start your trading day from there. Start it with our morning game plan. Start it with our weekly newsletter. Look at the charts that we do for you daily. Have a plan, know your levels, look at the charts, and have the confidence to trade from there. I forgot to say at the beginning, sorry for that. You have our disclaimer down on the YouTube page. This is just for educational purposes. We are not a financial company. This is just advice, and this is just to show you what we do and how you can do it yourselves. You have to learn the process, and you have to do it by yourselves. We are just here to help. If you have any questions, I'm always available on Twitter. Actually, today I had a very nice chat with one of our subscribers. He's a new subscriber from Chicago. Let me say hi to him if he's watching an hour later on. We are here to help. We are a new company, so it is our privilege to help you. We are grateful for you watching us, and we hope we can make a difference in your financial education. Moving on, so for tomorrow, for Amazon, 36.21 will be your pivot support, 37.60 pivot resistance. We are long the stock overnight. If it opens lower, maybe we're going to buy more versus this low. If it breaks this low, we're going to be out of the name, and we're going to look to see how it handles the 8-day down at 35.88. Facebook gave you also a trade. If you want it, we did not engage the name. It dipped right at the 21 day. I kept saying that the 8 and the 21 day are the most important technical tools that you have available to you. We use TradingView. You can use any other charting platform, but the 8 and 21 day show you exactly support and resistance levels. What did Facebook do today? It dipped as low as the 21 day, and then it went as high as its 8 day, and then it closed right in the middle. There is no point in taking this stock overnight. It's an ugly doji from my point of view, and it still looks vulnerable from all the tech stocks. If you compare it to Apple or especially to Amazon, there is no point in being in Facebook. What I want to try and show you is that you could have been making money in this name as well. You saw the 21 day, you knew that this was support. Always they act as support or resistance depending where you are coming from. So you could have been a buyer at 342.56 versus that level. It gave you a nice $6 move. So in days such as today, when you have a gap down, look to see how much of the candles how much of the gaps we can fill. Let me just check something. We have some issues with our internet connection. Just give me 1 second. Okay, moving on. So this is Facebook. It gave you a trade today. If you took it, there's no point in being long. Now moving on to Google. What did Google do today? It opened below the 8-day. It quickly reclaimed it. It gave you also a trade. You could have focused on Google as well. Just focus on such days, as I said before, and I interrupted myself. Focus on 2, 3, 5 names if you can handle. See where they open. Look at the reactionary low. Buy versus that low. If it works, very well. If it doesn't work, get out of the way and wait for more price discovery. Today we actually got the bounce of the 30 minutes low. The 5-minute low or the 10-minute low were not enough support, and we dipped lower. And after that we managed to find a footing, and we managed to get a nice bounce. So for tomorrow, Google still above the 8-day, still looking constructive. Made a low of 24.80. Pivot support is this one now. So I'm going to move the line a bit down. This is your new point of reference, 24.80. And you have the pivot resistance at 25.12. Moving on, Microsoft. Microsoft again. If you are a follower of Microsoft, it's very easy how we could have traded today. For lots of you it was a difficult day. For us, because we follow the rules that we set for ourselves. I hope you follow some of them as well. They make sense. Why do they make sense? Where could Microsoft go? You knew from yesterday the high was 280.69. You knew it was extended. You knew that the 8-day is around 273. Yeah. So where did Microsoft go? It went as low as 274.87. You could have been a buyer versus that, and it gave you a nice $4 push in the stock. So all in all, Microsoft still looks good. It's not extended anymore. For tomorrow, see if we can hold above 274.87, and if we can rebuild in here for a new leg higher. We have no position in Microsoft at the moment. Some of you asked me to look at Netflix. Netflix is still holding well. 525 was an important level to hold above. This is actually a very small candle in Netflix, doji type candle. Not the best of candles, but did not break down either. So for tomorrow, 529.28 is your pivot support, 535.50 your pivot resistance. I wouldn't be long or short Netflix in here. It's in a tight range. It needs to hold this gap that it created here. So see how the markets open tomorrow. See if you can buy versus this low, and if it can give you a push higher above 535.50, maybe to 538.50. Not looking great, but not broken either. One of our best trades today was Tesla. As you know, most days we focused on Tesla, either short or long. Today was one of those days where we focused long. And when Tesla works, it works great. We did mention in our morning game plan that even though Tesla was weak, even though Tesla lost momentum, there is sometimes a trade in Tesla. How could you have done this trade? Again, if you follow our recipe, it wasn't as difficult. We waited for the opening bell. Tesla dipped as low as 620. We did not engage it. We waited to see how it is reacting in comparison with the other EV plays. We wanted to see how it is in comparison with the SPYs, with the Qs. We saw some early strength in Tesla. So what did we do? We started buying small Tesla around 630 to 635. It went up and down, nothing special. And then once it reclaimed 638.50, which was the low from yesterday, what does it mean? I hope you all know by now this is a clear reversal. we added more Tesla, and it gave us a really nice day trade all the way up to 654.52. We actually exited around 650, but when we saw how strong it is closing, we decided to take some overnight. Similarly to Apple, to Amazon especially, Tesla is looking very well here. Even though it is below the 8-day, it managed to reclaim the important level 638.50. It managed to close above a prior resistance, which was 650, and it is looking set to take out the 8-day as well. There was also some news about their deliveries in China, which were not as bad as everyone expected. So this might be a nice new active sequence that starts for Tesla. I wouldn't go big Tesla here. Still below the 8-day, still some momentum needs to be regained, so be careful what you can hold overnight. Another great trade that we did was another reversal. This was Boeing. We don't normally engage this name, but look at Boeing. It had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days down. So Boeing was down for 7 sessions. Today it made a low below the 200-day. It managed to reclaim the 200-day, and we got engaged in Boeing once it managed to make a reversal to reclaim 230.52. We did not go long the stock because it trades chaotically. We bought some call options, 235 for next Friday, and we were also a bit lucky because Boeing just announced that it's in talks with the Chinese officials to reinstate the Boeing 737 MAX for the Chinese market. So on that news, obviously Boeing popped, made a high of 237.28. It hit its 8-day. Of course, it got rejected the first time it hit its 8-day. We trimmed our calls. We made actually 3 times the profit on the calls, and on this dip, on this leg higher, actually we also sold the 250 to cover the costs for the ones that we bought. So basically now we are playing this bounce in Boeing with options that are already paid for. So if Boeing decides to go higher, we're still going to make money. If Boeing stops here and this was just a dead cat bounce of the 200-day, we will not lose any money. We'll keep the money made from the first set of options that we bought earlier in the day. But once again, this is a clear reversal, and you have to be able to trade reversals, especially on days like today, where you know that you will gap down. You have to find the bottom. You have to look if you have any relative strength in any of the names, and then look if any of the names manage to reclaim the prior day's low. This is a great sign, and if they manage to go green, it's even better. Now let's look at NEO. I know lots of you like this name. I like it as well, but I like it when it acts well, when it's in a nice active sequence like it was here. I don't like it when it's a broken down name, but today was also a nice trade for us. What did NEO do? NEO opened below its 50-day, managed to quickly reclaim it. We went long once it reclaimed this level, 44.89. As I told you before, this was a big level for NEO. We went long once it reclaimed this one, and it went as high as 46.26. So it made a small reversal here. 45.75 was the prior low from yesterday. It reclaimed it. It went as high as 46.26, but it closed at 45.60, so we exited our position. It was just for a cash flow trade, just for a dead cat bounce, so there is no point in staying long NEO. If you're still in NEO, use this level 42.73 as your hard stop, because if it falls below that, there is a gap to its 200-day, which is all the way down to 38.50. Palantir, we talked about Palantir, we talk about it almost daily. Gave you today a very nice trade. We tried to engage it in, okay, first of all, we played it really nice all the way to 27.50. We exited our entire position here. Then it broke momentum. It broke below the 8 and 21 day. It broke below this important level, 24.30. We tried to play it in here. It didn't work. We just got a paper cut. We exited. Then big red candle over here. What did it do today? It went as low as 22.25. Then it managed to reclaim 22.72. This is where we got very big. It went as high as 23.21, not the most